Hello everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just let everybody pile in. So I'm in my, I'm not in the usual spot again. So same place I was for the last stream. So we got the echoey sounds, not the best light, but that's all right. We'll still have fun. Finish off my coffee. See how everybody's doing. Let's see, Nicola, you got a question. Hey guys, so I'm having this really strange issue with Blender. Whenever I render animation with objects with specularity, I get this strange flicker that bounces light from the ray trace. Are you doing that in cycles or in Eevee, Nicola? Let us know. Hey everybody, what's up? Dionys531, good to see you. Alberto, good to have you. Having a bit of a fun time with Cyberpunk. Buggy though, yeah, that's what everyone's saying. I haven't tried it, but cycles. Okay, Nicola. Is it strange flickers that bounce light from the ray trace? Are you getting like, is it like little fireflies, little like white dots that kind of mess up your render? I'm not sure we're gonna make today, Dionys. We can make anything you want. Let me know. Get some ideas in chat. Throw down an idea in chat if you like to see us make something. Again, we don't have heaps of time for a stream today. I'm doing a job in the city this week. That's why I've had to do these kind of shorter streams. I've got to jump into other stuff. Which sci-fi shot? Z3? Z3? I just got it. Z3 here. C3RO. Let's see. Cranking AA. The same issue. You might want to try, so Nicola, you might want to try taking your, what's it called? It's that filter setting in cycles where you can, I can't remember what it's called. Let me just double check. In cycles, we've got light paths, is that where it's at? Denoising. That's not it. Is it performance? It's funny, I haven't used cycles in so long. Clamping, that's it. So direct light, indirect light. You might want to try messing with these a bit. So turn this like up to like 2 maybe, and this down to like, try 2 and 2. This basically just clamps down how bright it allows things to get. Sometimes you can get super brights out of your specular, so where it just confuses the renderer basically because things are getting so hot in some spots. So if you clamp that down, you can get rid of a lot of those fireflies. So no, we're not going to do cycles today, Dapper. Borghini Complex, James Dobbin Smith. You're always there for that. Always angling for the Borghini Complex. We will make that one day. I mean, we could try and make. Let's see. Oh, I just noticed my stream quality is not great. Let me. My OBS had to disconnect. That's weird. You guys may have seen a blackout. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's buffering. I don't know. I think I just lost my internet for a minute. Maybe that's all it was. Anyways, all right. So again, yeah, we don't have a lot of time today, so we need to make something that's not going to be too involved, too crazy, and something that's going to be fun. Sorry, I should have planned ahead. I want to do a tutorial, so I've got some extra content saved up for Christmas. I'm hoping to get to stream a lot next week, and just kind of do a bunch of fun things because it's my last week of work before I take a break. I'm looking forward to a break. I'm going to switch out of cycles back over to Eevee. I'm also just happy to do a chill stream today and just play around a little bit. Maybe it'd be more fun just to do that. What is it you have to say, Alberto? Let me know. I'm just going to scroll up. I missed a few comments here. Oh, cool, Nicola, you're making your own short film. That's really exciting. Oh yeah, I thought it was something we could do. We could make a Christmas tree. Yeah, it's true, Dan. That'd be fun. A sci-fi Christmas tree. One thought I did have was we could do a bit more animation. We could do, I don't know if we've got time for a full walk cycle with the droid. fun. I don't know if we've got enough time for that. I've got about 45 minutes. Oh, that's nice. Thanks, Alberta. That's really nice. Someone tried to buy the Dyson sphere off you. That's cool. You're making art, man. That's right. Yeah, I think animation stuff might be fun. We could start and see how far we get. Let me find my droid. Where are you? Tutorials. Random droid rig. Actually, let me open this one. All right. Okay, so let me start recording. And there's the camera. Hello and welcome to another exciting Blender tutorial. Today we're going to be taking another look at how to do animation in Blender. Actually, I just had a second thought. Do I really want to do this? Because my record quality is just so bad, and I'm hoping this could be a little series. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to do this. I want to do this in my proper setup, my proper studio. So I'll do this next week. Next week we'll do a walk cycle tutorial. Sorry guys, false start. Guys and gals. How's everybody doing today? Nice to have you. This may be a bit of a bust stream. We could do a bit of modeling. We don't really do much modeling in the website. What do we do? We could do some physics. Soft body physics. Would that be fun? Some really sci-fi. That'd be cool though. Snow forest. Very on point. For Northern Hemisphere people at least. Down here in the Southern Hemisphere, it's beach time. I'm excited. Should have thought of something beforehand. Oh, thanks, Alberto. I appreciate that. That's nice of you. Oh, hey, we got somebody on Twitch. Hi, Twitch. Welcome. Say hi in chat. I'll say hi back. Got about 13 people over on YouTube. 1 person on Twitch. Nobody on Facebook. Don't even know why I bother streaming on Facebook. I guess it's because I can. I'm surprised you were watching because we're just rotating the default cube at this point. It's a very unexciting stream. What do I want to make? That's a cool concept. We could do some more simple, like, basic stuff. Or I could teach a certain concept. Could make just do another cool shader tutorial. Those are always fun. It's a shader material that I could try. Yeah, let's just make something interesting. Let's just do a cool shader. I like shaders. All right, let's just try this again. Still recording? Yep, cool. All right. Hello and welcome to another exciting Blender tutorial. Today we're going to be putting together a really cool shader using procedural nodes. Let's get started. Okay, so today that'll be fun just to spitball a crazy sci-fi shader, see what we can come up with, and yeah, have a bit of fun with it. So I'm just going to do this on a sphere, and I just wanted to take the time just to talk through some basic concepts and introduce some ideas. Sometimes I blast through procedural nodes in tutorials. I go really fast. I do a lot of stuff. So I thought it'd be nice to kind of take a bit of a breather and do something at a bit more of a different pace. All right, so let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to Shift A, and I'm going to put a UV sphere in my scene, and then I'm going to right-click on it and shade smooth. I'll just scale it up a little bit, get a nice little angle so I can see it really well. And then I'm going to split my view. Again, you can always split your view. If you come down at any corner, you get a little cross symbol, and you can like split and pull and tear the view into different sections, so it's really great. I'm going to come over here to my shader editor, and let's take a look. Okay, so we got nothing in here right now because we have no shader in our scene. I'm in Eevee, and we'll be doing this in Eevee. But again, if you're working in Eevee, Cycles works, uses the exact same PBR. It uses the exact same material setup. So any material you make in Eevee is going to translate over to Cycles. So don't feel like if you're working in Eevee, it's not going to be the same. You've got to stay in Eevee. You can go to Cycles. You can make them look exactly the same. Of course, Cycles is going to have real time. Not real time. It's going to have real ray tracing throughout your scene, so it's going to have a much more realistic look. But anyways, it's going to be pretty cool. All right, so let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is come over here and click New to create a new material, and that creates our principled BSDF shader and our material output. Now, if you've ever seen the principled BSDF, you may be wondering, what is it? It stands for. Actually, what does it stand for? But principled B surface. I actually don't know what that stands for. Oh well, never mind. It's so funny. Yeah, that's true, Dapper Dino. Eevee can't do shader bevel or black body. They're not core features, right? There are sacrifices. There are things that you're not going to get in Eevee that you can get with some of the nodes. But generally speaking, the look is all good. So, broad surface dynamic function. That's a very good guess. I mean, I got to hand it to you. I would go with that. All right, so I'm going to turn off my grid, turn off my handles, and I'm going to switch over to rendered view just so I've got a really nice, view of my sphere in rendered view in Eevee. And I'm going to come over here to my modifiers. I'm going to add in a subdivision surface just to smooth out that sphere. Now, there are a lot of cool nodes and a lot of cool ways to use those nodes to make some really interesting effects when you're creating a shader. So I thought what I could do is let's get one of my favorites, the Voronoi, and let's drop it down and let's see what we want to do. Bidirectional scattering distribution function. There it is. Great. Glad someone can look it up. Thank Legion of Terra. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, Gordon. We really have no idea what we're doing today. Hey, Setflow. Nice to see you on Twitch. Thanks for joining. Today we're just doing a shader. Thought we'd just have a bit of fun, just come up with a cool shader, and I could explain some of the concepts. Go a bit slower. What kind of shader do you guys want to see? Do we need to do should we do like some kind of ice shader? Should we do a lava shaders are always fun, or we could just do some kind of crazy sci-fi shader, or I can just combine some stuff. I think I'll just kind of combine some things and talk about different ways of creating cool effects. So, all right. Whenever you're creating a shader, it's really helpful to get a sense of what your node's doing. And the best way to do that is to use your emission output. Now, with the principled BSDF, you've got a ton of different inputs. You've got a ton of different numbers and things. And all of these are creating, specific realistic effects for your shader. Emission is an input that allows you to emit light from your shader. So it's also a really great way to pipe in something like a Voronoi texture where you can't tell what this looks like. But if you want to see it, and you want to see it in a way that's not being affected by anything else, like you don't want to see it being affected by the lights, because right now we got this shadow on one side, we got this bright bit on the other side. If I was to take my distance and plug it into my base color and let it render, this side's going to be darker, this side's going to be brighter. I'm not getting a really accurate picture of exactly just what it looks like in a pure sense. However, if I stick this into the emission, now I'm getting a sense of what it actually looks like. You can see it's not any brighter or darker on either side. The lights aren't affecting it anymore, so it's emitting light. That's a really helpful way to have a look at what the texture is doing. Now, another thing that's really important to note is that with these textures and with a lot of the nodes and stuff in Blender, they're outputting information that goes beyond the number 1 and 0. What do I mean by that? Well, if you notice when we plugged it up here, right, things looked a lot darker, right, down here. But when you plug it into the emission, so we're looking at the pure values, it looks a lot brighter. You don't see as much as the darkness. These values, they go beyond the number 1 and they go below the number 0. So they go beyond pure white into super white, and they go below pure black into super black. I don't know if that's a technical term, but it's a good way to think about it. Basically, the number 1 is just pure white, and the number 0 is pure black in Blender. When you have numbers that are higher than that, so we have a white value of like 4, let's say, that's when you can do things like turn on bloom, and you're going to start getting bloom. So you see I get some glow off the top there. It's a bit subtle. I'll turn up my strength a bit. So now you can see we're getting all this glow that's going on. You get bloom when you have a number begin to go beyond 1. So it's brighter than just white. It's now really bright. It's like going brighter and brighter and brighter. So you can get higher and higher values, make things really start to glow. Now, I'll turn this back down to 1. If you want to begin to kind of, I guess, bring those values into a space where you can see them, a helpful tool to use is the color ramp. Now, color ramp, if I stick this right in here, the color lamp is going to take the input, so it's take everything that's coming from here, and it's going to constrain it between the bounds of these two colors. So this color, which is just straight up black, so just 0, 0, and 0 if you go to the RGB, and white, which is just white, 1, 1, 1, 1. So now we're looking at purely between 0 and 1. There's no super values. And it looks exactly the same. So I may have lied to you. It may actually be just pumping out. It may not be pumping out any super values from the texture itself. But what's useful is you can take the color ramp and you can drag it around to clamp down any kind of texture, so you can get a really clear sense of what it looks like. That's really, really helpful sometimes if if it's a bit hard to tell because everything's so bright. All right, so how can we use something like this? Well, what I like to do is, let me actually just check chat real quick. Yeah, you can group shaders. That is really cool, Nick. We should talk about that. Can I try doing a sci-fi shades that look more like an alien skin? Yeah, we could do like an alien skin. That'd be cool. I'm wondering if you're not using the Node Wrangler add-on. Yeah, no, not using the Node Wrangler add-on today, Gordon. I turned it off for the tutorials because I like to do everything. Like, I know I've explained this to you before, but there might be other people that haven't heard it. But I like to just go in detail and kind of do the step-by-step stuff, because I find Node Wrangler is great once you understand how it works. You know what's going on, and it's just, yeah. Anyways, it's just a theory I have. I'm not feeling this tutorial. I'm feeling a bit flat today. It's been a big week. I'm a bit dead. And let's just have fun. Let's have a chill stream. Forget trying to do a tutorial. I mean, like formally explaining stuff. Let's just have fun. Let's do some alien skin. This would be cool. All right, we got some spots. Let's go with like, we can have a couple of different groups of spots maybe. We'll take some, I'll do one of my favorite tricks. We'll come over here, we're gonna mix RGB. And let's take the mix RGB and we're gonna grab a texture coordinate node, and we're gonna grab a mapping node. And I'll take, actually I don't really need the mapping node. I'll take the generated coordinate into here, and I'll take this one into here. So, hey, Giuseppe on Twitch, welcome. Thanks for watching, man. Thanks for joining. Good to have you. All right, and then let's grab what do I want? Let's grab a noise. All right, so guys, if you're not familiar with this technique, what I'm doing right now, let me explain. This is a great way to add some neat procedurality and just bizarreness to a shader. Like, look at that, that's pretty cool. What's going on here is that every material needs a vector, and texture needs a vector to know where to position it. By default, it uses what's called the generated texture coordinate, which is the first input right here. So if I was to plug generated into vector, it's not going to change. It's going to look exactly the same because it's doing the same things. It just means that Blender is generating a coordinate based on the geometry of the object. So it just kind of guesses. We've got all these other ones. We could use the normal. We could use the UV. So if you actually laid out the UVs, you can use it that way. We can use our camera. So the camera's cool. Like if you plug camera into the vector, then it's going to base the vector on wherever the camera is facing. So wherever I move my camera, you can see the material is going to change, which is pretty cool. You could use the window. A window is going to be based on the window, so it's similar to camera, but you can see now we don't see any of that curve anymore. It's like just projecting straight onto it. So that's another cool technique. Be aware with object, if you use object, it creates a really nice, can create a better pattern sometimes, especially if you've done a lot of work on the geometry, like if you've extruded stuff. If it's one of the base objects, generated tends to work well. But with object, no, it's not. I thought with the object it moved. We had a problem with that the other day. I was doing the robot tutorial. I was thinking that when he animated it, his texture moved. Is it generated? No. I need to figure that out. Oh, maybe it's when you've got a bone. I wonder. This is. If we have that and we parent this, automatic weights. I go into pose mode. Actually, let me object mode. Sorry guys, just a temporary experiment. Go into the vector. Yeah, that's right, Dapper. That's what I was just thinking. Yeah, I never really thought about that, but that's what's going on. If I go into pose mode now and I move, yeah, so see how the texture moves. That's why it's a gotcha. So yeah, bear that in mind. If you're using the object coordinate, you're gonna have to bake it out before you go in and do an armature, or you can just take your material and use the generated coordinate. That should work. Does it? Yeah, so it stays the same with the generated coordinate. Interesting. Let's clear that. Clear. Oh. Control P. No. I thought Alt P was clear parent. Oh, I'm in pose mode. Alt P, clear parent. Let's get rid of that. Anyways, okay, so that's sidetrack. The generated coordinate will lock on if you're using deformation and stuff, but anyways. Oh, that's funny. Sorry, catching up on chat, going back up. A few more people. Hey, Vincent 3DC, welcome on Twitch. Jesper says on Twitch you should model a cute little alien and try this on. That's not a bad idea. We're just going to make a little random shape. We're just going to have kind of a chill stream today. We're not really doing anything too fancy. I've only got another half hour, so we're just going to have some fun. Made a huge mistake. Plinked Plonk says, in rendering a while ago, instead of a video, I had 9,000 images. Yeah, that's actually not a mistake. Image sequences is how I render everything. So I always render to an image sequence. Because if you have an error on like one frame, and you rendered it as a video, you're going to have to render that whole thing again to get that frame fixed. But if you do an image sequence, then you can just fix that one frame. Saves you a lot of time. Let's see, if you use an object for something with a mesh deform, you have to bake the texture. Yeah, that's what we were just looking at, Dapper. Yeah, that's right. It's my normal character shader workflow. First procedural, then paint, then bake, then final textures. It's a good procedural workflow. All right, so let's get back to making our fun thing. So I was talking about this. So I was talking about texture coordinate node and how you can use different texture coordinates to make stuff work. Anyways, texture coordinate is a vector, and a vector is a set of numbers. Sorry, I keep looking there, but you're right here. And we can mix those numbers, we can change those numbers, and if we distort those numbers with something like noise, right? So we're taking noise, the factor of this noise texture, which is another 3D texture, and we're taking those values across 3D space, and we're using them to then sort of mix in with the numbers of the generated coordinate. What it's going to do is basically shifting the coordinates of that texture, right? And the more you add those numbers in, the more it mixes up the coordinate. So if I take my color and plug it into vector, now you can do that. You can plug colors into vectors and vectors into colors because they're the same thing basically. A color is just a set of 3D numbers, with 4 numbers if you include the alpha channel. And a vector is a set of numbers as well. So they can interpret that and work with it fine. So when I mix them together slowly, you'll see what happens is it starts to distort the appearance of my Voronoi texture. But it's not actually changing the Voronoi texture. The Voronoi texture is still the same. It's still this, right? But what it's doing is it's distorting the texture coordinate that's coming in to the Voronoi texture, if that makes sense. So it's almost like we're taking our mesh and distorting our mesh, right? That's kind of one way to think about what's happening here. But you can make some really cool stuff like that. That looks like kind of like marble, right? So you could use that now to, affect different things. But we'll put a little bit of this in. And now what we can do is we can take our scale, we can turn our scale down like that. We can turn up our detail. Do some really, really cool stuff. Hey, 3D artists, welcome. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Glad you're liking the work. It's been a fun couple of weeks. We had some interesting tutorials coming out, and enjoyed the projection mapping one that we did with Cyberpunk. I think that's going well, nice and popular. Now I'm just looking around for something interesting, something to kind of catch my interest. I like that. I want to go to that looks cool. I'm going to come over to my scale on this guy and bring it down. That's interesting. All right, so now how can we use this? Well, if you've got an interesting pattern, right, like this, for example, which I'm liking, might even drag it out, see what it looks like entirely. That's really cool. Now you want to start figuring out how to play with it. So let's we can take this system that we've built, and then we can pipe it into all kinds of stuff to drive different aspects of our shader. So let's try plugging this into the, well, what we can do is we'll keep this, and then I'll have individual color ramps for each section so we can affect different things. So I'm just going to grab my color ramp and Shift D. I'm going to take my color and plug it into the factor. And let's see, I'll take this color and I'll plug it into the base color. And now I can use these to kind of drive what I want the color of this thing to be, you know. So if we go kind of a green. Like the blue, I don't know, it's kind of cool. Now I can use these to individually drive the color of my object. All right, but now let's say I want to create some texture to this, you know, to kind of correspond with this pattern. And this is a great technique. So when you create a really interesting, you know, setup like this, we've got a couple of different nodes working together to create a cool pattern. It's really great to use that same pattern to drive your color, to drive your bump map, to drive your specular, to drive all these different things. And the reason for that is they all really start working together, and it makes a really believable surface. So that's really, really useful. So I'll grab these out of the way. And I'm going to Shift D, grab another one, pipe it in here. And again, I'm piping these into color ramps, their own color ramps, so that I've got control over each individual input. So for example, you know, what I want going into base color is this, but I don't want these colors going into like specular or something. I want to have something different. I want to have a different kind of control. So I'm using these separate color ramps. It also gives me the ability to crunch down and change, you know, how things are affected on a per input basis. Okay, so now I'm going to create a bump node. Yeah, I could plug the first node into the normal. You want to see what that looks like, Nick? Here we go. Give it a second. It's pretty ugly, hey? Some weird things going on there. So the reason why this looks so bizarre, normal is, I'll show you actually. If we take the bump, so bump node generates a normal output, right? And so if I take my color here, pipe it into the height. So this is a black and white value, right? This bring this back over in the emission so you can see it. So this is this. So when you plug a black and white value into a height input, what you're doing is you're saying, all right, use white to represent something that's high, use black to represent something that's down low. So it takes that, and it takes the texture coordinate, so how it's placed on this sphere, and it generates a normal, which is a direction of a face. If I come over here and turn on face orientation, no, that's not going to be it. Where is it? Is it just in one of these other modes, I think? Where do normals live again? I don't remember. Geometry, face orientation. I lost them the other day and then I found them again. So here. Anybody remember where normals are located? I'll load them up. Is it just an edit mode that it lets me see? Oh yeah, that's it. You got to be in edit mode. Okay. Anyways, these are normals. See these blue lines? You see how every single one of these sticks out of a polygon face? Turn off transparent mode so you can see this a little bit clearer. Looks like this guy. Let's have a look at him. So this is blue line. It sticks out right out of the center of this face, and it's pointing in the direction that this face is pointing. Every single polygon has a normal, and the normal is what direction is that polygon facing. So you could do some weird stuff if you say go to mesh, normal, and flip. Look how ugly that is, right? Why is that so ugly? Well, what's happening is Blender's confused. I just told it this normal should be facing the other way. So if I come inside, you'll see this is the only polygon that has a normal that's facing inside the sphere, whereas all the others are pointing outside. So when it's shading this, it's like averaging the way the light is reflecting off these surfaces. And then it gets here and it's like, oh, well, this is supposed to be shadowed because this is facing away from the light and I don't know what's going on. How do I deal with this? And so it just gets really ugly. So if you come over here and mesh and go normals, if you ever get that when you're modeling too, you might get little moments where you get these weird render artifacts, and that's because your normals are wrong. So you just want to go back to normals and you want to click, you could recalculate outside and then it'll recalculate everything. Or you could just flip the individual one if it's off. So really, really helpful. So when this node says, all right, it's taking the height, it's taking the black and white values, it's turning them into normals. So it's turning them into those little blue lines, right? So this bump texture is going to have a lot more density than our actual mesh, right? We don't have that many polygons in our mesh. But what's happening is it's basically the exact same as this. So if I come over to, let's go back into this mode, right? And I come over here and I add in a subdivision surface, another one. And let's just turn it all the way up. I'll turn it up to like 4. And let's see, I want to switch my view here. Let's look at the, all right, so you can see I'm getting like a whole lot more of these lines, right? And that's because we've got tons more geometry being generated from our subdivision surface, right? And then if I was to come in here and I was to add in a, let's see, a displacement modifier, let Blender catch up, create a new texture, go with something like clouds, and then head back up to my modifiers, and let's turn it on so we can actually see it in edit mode. All right, we're going to need to apply it. So let me go ahead. I'll go out of edit mode. And let's we'll apply this one. I'm going to turn this down. It's a bit too crazy with 5. I think. Apply. And apply. All right, look at that. That's insane, right? What's going on here? Well, all these normals, I'll turn down their size a bit. You can see how there's like tons of them now, and they're all going off in these different directions. So a bump map, you can do this, right? But you're doing it to an object that doesn't have this much geometry. It's creating normals, new normal lines within your faces without generating more geometry. So let's head back over to object mode. I'll just delete the sphere, create a new one. So when I plug in this, I'm basically adding in new normals to my object. So I'll plug that in. Does that make sense? That's kind of a deep deep explanation of normals and how they work. And you can see now it looks like we've got this like bumpiness to it. It looks like we've got more geometry than we really have. Take this out of the emission. Let's plug this back into the color. Welcome, Calvin. Good to have you. Hi, White Rooster. Sorry, White Rooster Productions. Good to have you. We're just kind of having fun today. We're doing a bit of a chill stream. Just making some shader stuff, talking about how shaders work, having a bit of fun. All right, so now you can see it's like we've got more geometry than we really have. So that's what's happening. That's why normals. That's why it's called a normal, and that's how it works. So it's pretty cool. So bump. So Nick, answering your question, so bump converts black and white to normal. Basically, yes, the bump node can take black and white and turn it into normal information. It can also take normals directly. So now we can look at this, like if we plug this into the emission, take this out of the base color again. Let everything catch up. There we go. This is what normal actually looks like. So this is the normal values, right? So we don't have any bump map plugged in right now. This is just the color information, what a normal looks like. It looks like this, right? And each of these quadrants are different colors, and they represent positional information. So green is everything off in this direction. Yellow is everything off in this direction. The cyan is everything off this way, blue's this way, magenta's this way, red's down here. And so as you add or remove those colors, that's how Blender knows what direction things are facing or where they're located in 3D space. So it's this quadrant color system, and that's what a normal actually looks like. Now you can play with this, like we could add in more magenta to the whole thing, and it's going to shift, that bump map so that everything looks like it's over a little bit. You don't really get much of an effect, doing that when it's just a 2D object. But if you're using vector displacement, which is a really cool feature, then it's actually going to take this stuff and literally displace the model. Then you can like literally move it around just by adding in these colors. So that's how that works. So here we go. Plug this back into the normal. So glad you found that helpful, Nikolai. Or sorry, Nicola. Let's see. Isolating the blue channel is handy for making things like dust and snow on only the top of an object. That's really cool idea, Dapper. Let's see. All right, let's go back to making our shader. Just got another 10 minutes, maybe we'll be able to make some stuff. So let's just have a bit of fun. I'm going to Shift-D duplicate this color ramp again, plug it in here. Next thing I want to talk about is roughness. So I'm going to create a plane. And let's go ahead and turn on screen space reflections. Right here. And bloom. And ambient occlusion, why not? Turn all this stuff off. Roughness is how reflective your object is, right? So if I bring roughness down, the closer we get to 0, the more it's going to reflect. You can see it's reflecting the ground plane here. I could make this red so you can really see it. See that color reflected there. The higher the number, the less reflected it is. Also, basically, what it's doing is it's blurring out those reflections more and more and more and diffusing them. What's really cool is if you plug a value in to drive that. So let's plug in our roughness value. So again, closer to 0, the more reflections you've got. The closer to 1, the less reflections you've got. And we've got this, this texture that we've made. So part of it's black, part of it's white. So part of it is going to be more reflective than other parts. Now we can play with that by dragging this around, right? And now we've got sort of these, looks like the ridges are more reflecting than the valleys. You can really see it here, right? You also flip it. So you can use this to like make it feel, you know, we could make it feel wet, we could make it feel muted, we could do all kinds of cool stuff. All right, now oh yeah, there is a game dev YouTuber called Dapper Dino. That's what he's asking about. Anyways, hello everyone out there in the world. Just having a bit of a chill stream today. Thanks for popping in. We're just having a bit of fun. It's a Friday here in Australia, so I'm just relaxing with the shader. All right, so now how can we do something really cool with this? Well, we can animate it. We could take, we could animate a couple things. It'd be cool if we did, if we go to 4D, you get this extra value called W. And W is basically like an evolution value that allows you to evolve the overall shape of your shader. So that's kind of a cool look, having that slide around. We switch this into 4D, we get the same thing. That's pretty cool. I might take the scale up on this one, see what it looks like. Oh wow, that's kind of cool. Look at that. Now one thing that's really fun is if you go into one of these values, right, and you type in the pound symbol and the word frame, it's going to automatically create a driver. So it's the same as if you right click and you add a driver. And it's a specific driver that basically evolves based on the frame. So it's a bit intense. So I'm going to add an equation to this. I'm going to make it smaller. So I'm going to multiply it by 0.01. And now it's got this slow and gradual. So this is really, really cool. Really great way to, you know, generate some neat stuff that you can do all kinds of, you know, crazy looks with. Good to have you, Lazari. Thanks for coming. Yeah, you can animate shaders, Nick. Pretty exciting. Really, really fun what you can do with a animated shader. So we could turn this into all kinds of stuff now. Like we could even then take this, right? Let's move these down. And take this one and we'll pipe this into the emission. And let's say we want like this, just the narrow valleys to be emissive. So just like these crevice areas. And let's turn the strength like way up, right? And now let's give it a color. Like it's glowing, do like a magma thing, you know, like red hot. We could go weird, glowy green. Turn that bump down a little bit maybe. Let's get rid of that red. And let's make our world black. Actually, let's keep the flame. Let's just put a different type of material on it. Let's come here and go for like a really dark and really reflectant surface. It's pretty cool, hey? All right, cool. Let's land this shader. Got maybe another 5 minutes. I need to wrap up the stream. Try some other color variations. What we might want to do is add in a little more noise into this, you know, make it a little bit denser. So take this whole group, right? Go noise, mix RGB, plug the factor here, and the distance here, and then plug that all into this one. Thanks, 3D artist, appreciate it. And now what we can do is instead of mix, because mix like just replaces one with the other, we could use something like multiply, which is going to genuinely combine the two of them. And then I can come here and turn my scale way up. Maybe my detail and roughness. And then I can use this to decide how much I want of this extra bit. So I could just make it like a subtle thing. It's probably a little too detailed. That's cool. We turn our factor up over there. Oh, nice. We turn up the distortion and get a cool look. Oh, it's creepy from that side. Let's open up these cracks a little more. You can see you get this really nice modular effect where you can like go in and just tweak your individual bits now, and they're all working together. And when they all work together, you get a really, really exciting result. So, hey Laurie VFX, thanks for joining. Thanks. Glad you think it's awesome. It's yeah, it could be a planet. We're kind of just having fun today, just making a shader, just experimenting with some ideas about how shaders work and taking our time with it. Dapper did make a really nice point that if we take our ground plane and we put some noise in the reflection, it makes can make a nice interest in the image. So if we grab a Musgrave, I like to do this with a Musgrave texture, plug it into the roughness, and then grab a color ramp and drop that in there as well. Now what we can do is take our scale way up and our dimension down and our detail up. See how that does? It's really nice, isn't it? And then what we can do is we can take these values, and I can bring this one off of white, so bring it down a little bit. And remember what we talked about, that's going to make it more and more reflectant, right? So you can kind of find a nice halfway point, bring this one up so it's not perfectly reflecting. Something like that, possibly. Could even try flipping these. That's a nice effect. Very cool. Yeah, we should add some volumetrics to this scene too. Be nice. It does. It adds so much visual oomph. And you know what else might be really cool? Is if we add particles. And we come here to render. We render as an object. And we select the sphere. Turn the scale up. I need to duplicate it. Let's take the number down to 100. Let's take the physics, and we'll take, where is it? Brownian drag. Oh, that's right, down here at the bottom, force under field weights. Let's turn our gravity off. And then what we can do is let's emit everything on the first frame. I'll just try 3, maybe 5. Bring them down a bit in their size. And the randomness. And then could add in a force field. And let's try a turbulence field. And then come back over to our particles. And we want to have our physics tab. No, sorry, velocity. Let's turn our velocity on. And I'll turn rotation on. And I need to take my lifetime up to maybe 250. So that's cool. And then let's also add in a force field magnetic. And I'll take my turbulence and I'll turn the flow all the way up to 10. Down a little bit. Turn the strength up. There we go. Wave modifier, nice, Jacob, I like that. Yeah, Laurie, VFX, it's nice. And everybody's piling in. Great ideas in chat. Pretty wild. Should we metaballs this? What do you think? It's pretty rad, hey? What happens if we use the object coordinate? Is it gonna change the texture for each particle? So we wanted to use metaballs. Let's try that. I'm going to create a metaball ball. I'll apply our material to it. And then I'll make that the particle. Let's come down here and grab the metaball. And then let's come here. And let's just hide everything else. We just have the metaball itself. And let's see. I'm just going to bring the resolution view down. Metaballs are really cool. They just like, they try and combine, basically. That's how they work. There we go. Super cool sci-fi bizarreness. We should probably turn up our particles. I feel like that the emission's a bit too intense now. We've got so much of it. Bring these down a touch. Alien brain. Let's add some lights to this. Oops. Give it a bit of color. It's so gross looking. See what he's saying? Yeah, it definitely has an alien, omniscient being vibe. Legion of Terror says. I agree. Turn down the intensity without reducing the amount of green showing. Yeah, that could work. Could bring the emission down. Yeah, this is metaballs, Dapper. That's right. Metaballs are cool. They're very limited in their use case, but they can be a lot of fun. I'm just really having fun now. Pull that out a bit more and bring the emission strength down. I think you're right. Yeah, it looks better in general. See what generated looks like. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for saying thank you, Lazar. My pleasure. Might turn this into a tutorial. Who knows? I'll probably just leave this stream up for everybody. Everything made from metaballs, Dapper. No limits. Maybe I've underestimated them. Anything else you guys want to see done with this thing? It's pretty cool. Could turn up our particles. Mess with our turbulence field a bit. It's cool when you make the size really big because then they go off in strange directions. And you can actually see the shape of the turbulence. That's pretty cool. That's really neat. Look at that. Should also take our floor maybe and add collisions to it. Turn up stickiness. So then they just kind of like goop on the floor. Turn the friction on that. This is crazy. Yeah, we should soft body this thing and drop it. That would be really fun. Wow, that's so cool. Look at that. Yeah, it's very gross looking, isn't it? Good to see you, Landfear. Hi, 3D Beast. I know you've been here. Just hadn't said hello yet. Pretty cool. Still nice to see we've got one person over on Twitch. Hi. Wow, that's really neat. All right, we got to do one soft body version. Let's hide the turn this one back on. Soft body. See what it looks like. Field weights, gravity. Control point, simulation, cache. Actually, I don't remember how to set this up. I'll do that another time. Anyways, gang, I gotta wrap this up. It's been fun. Thanks for watching today. We'll end on our metaballs creation. Very creepy stuff. Hope you learned some cool things today. Hope you had a bit of fun. Thanks for joining me. Sorry it wasn't a very formal stream today, but I thought we'd have a good time anyways, jumping around and playing with some stuff and trying some stuff out. So thanks so much for joining, and I hope you have a fantastic good night, day, wherever you are, whatever time it is, and I will catch you in the next tutorial. Stay tuned next week. Hope to do a lot more of these. So yeah, keep watching. Thanks again. I will catch all of you later. Have a fantastic weekend. If I don't see you before then, catch you later. Bye.